Tánaiste, the general election will be called tomorrow, and your government's waste of public money will be high on the agenda when the campaign kicks off. Your catalogue of waste reads like a bad comedy, where the joke is always on the taxpayer. But nobody is laughing, Tánaiste. Nobody is laughing at the €336,000 that you squandered on a bike shed. People didn't see the funny side when you spent or wasted €1.4 million of people's money on a security hut. They definitely didn't bust out laughing when they heard that the cost of modular units for Ukrainians had more than doubled, and people just couldn't believe their ears, especially since so many families are struggling to get by, to pay the bills, to afford the weekly shop, to make it to the end of the week. And then we come to the craziness of the €9 million that you are wasting on mobile phone pouches. People were left shaking their heads in disbelief with this one. But it turns out that you couldn't even be straight with the people when you were called out on this issue. The government was at pains to stress that this was a one-off spend. Minister Norma Foley went to the media to firm up on that message. She even wrote an article where the headline was "Once-off investment." And you did that too, Tánaiste. A couple of weeks ago, when I questioned you here in the Dáil at Leaders' Questions on the phone pouches, you stood there and you said that this was a once-off expenditure. But now we know that that isn't true. It's not the case, Michal. The documents that I've received under Freedom of Information show that it's not true. And they raise a lot of serious questions surrounding the story that you and your Minister Norma Foley spun to the public. Firstly, and these are the questions, why weren't we told that there would be a cost of nearly €2 million every single year after for these phone pouches? Why weren't we told that nearly 100,000 of these pouches would have to be replaced every single year? Why weren't we told that Minister Foley was intensely lobbied by an executive from Yonder, a company that makes these mobile phone pouches? Why weren't we told that Minister Foley met this executive at a conference 2 years ago where the executive gave her a phone pouch from Yonder? This doesn't add up, Tánaiste, because I recently, on the Dáil record, asked Minister Foley, did she have any meetings? Any meeting with a representative of a company that produces these mobile phone pouches? And on the Dáil record, she answered no. And it's simply not the case. The meeting happened, a phone pouch was given, and that happened over 2 years ago. And this is crazy stuff, Tánaiste. Not only have you decided to waste €9 million of public's money on phone pouches, but your story on why the decision was taken and how it was taken is as clear as mud, especially when there was a list provided to the Minister for Education of other common sense solutions that would have resulted in the banning of mobile phones in the classroom, but would have cost the taxpayer zero it would have cost the taxpayer on the other options. And it leaves people wondering, why all of this dodginess? Why all of the evasiveness? Why are you not telling the people the full story here, Tánaiste? What this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt is that Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael cannot be trusted with the public's money properly. And it's not just the waste in the mobile phone pouches or the waste in the bike shed or the security hut. Just look at the runaway costs in terms of the Children's Hospital if you want to make that point. So Tánaiste, it's clear that now is the time to clear all of this up. Can you answer the questions that I put? Why weren't we told that it would cost more than €2 million every single year? Why weren't we told that another 100,000 nearly of mobile phone pouches would have to be bought every year because the others would have to be replaced? Why weren't we told that Minister met with an executive of Yonder, that a phone pouch was given to her over 2 years ago? Why weren't we told any of this? Why did you try to cover all of this up?
Ceann Comhairle, could I just maybe beg your indulgence before I reply to, as we finish up to Dáil, to put on record my profound thanks to you and to the unsung army of men and women who make the Oireachtas and through it our democracy work. I think the stewards, the catering staff, cleansing and maintenance staff, researchers, clerks, the media who are based here, the Gardaí who are posted here. We're all part of a community, and I'm very grateful to every one of you for making it work as well as it has. This Dáil was a particular challenging Dáil. If you remember at the start of this Dáil, we had the enormous disruption of COVID-19, and all of those responsibilities had to be transplanted to another venue. Indeed, I was elected as a Taoiseach in that other venue, and strange times indeed. But everybody in this entire community made it work, and I'm very grateful to them. I just want to take this opportunity to put on the record my appreciation and thanks to the excellent public servants and private office teams in the Department of Taoiseach Office, the Tánaiste Department of Foreign Affairs and Defence for their tremendous support over the course of the last 4.5 years, and indeed wish all those elected representatives who are retiring the very best of health and happiness in the years ahead. Now, ní ein tíim in éair leis an teachta a sochtan méid atá ráiteige, mar is léir domsa go bhfuil annach chuid déanta going, annach chuid éignmh go háire scolanna timpeall na tíre tá tógatha going, agus annach chuid ag teacht as an inistíocht sin na bóithire go léir atá déanta going inistíocht crín agus maithe agus cuasaí sláinte agus mar sin de. So I disagree fundamentally with the Deputy's assertion in respect of an issue that they're trying to engineer for the election. It's clear as night follows day. The sort of high feigned outrage about the issue in terms of smartphones in schools. You're desperately grasping at the straws to grab an issue that you think might rescue you or whatever, help you in the election campaign. You failed to mention the fantastic school projects that have been completed on budget and on time, from Scoilvirg on Small in Blarney to the Limerick Educate Together School in Castletroy in Limerick, to the extension of St. Conlet's Primary and St. Mary's Infant School in Newbridge. All very significant investments, huge value for money. The primary care centres across the country, we now have 174 of them. The big road projects in terms of Castle Baldwin, the N4, the N59 Mycullen bypass, Dunkettle interchange, Listowel bypass. To mention just a few of public investments that have come in on budget, on time, and have been good value for money and have helped the situation for many, many people. If you look at the Macroom bypass, for example, right through to Ballyvorney, extraordinary value for money and huge impacts as well for the public. In terms of the bike shed, I share, as indeed the chairman of OPW said, it was excessive. I didn't ask for that bike shelter. Members of the opposition did. They wrote in. No, to be fair, I don't think they expected the level of expenditure that subsequently ensued. But the OPW were asked to provide a bike shelter by members of this House, majority in the opposition. That's what happened. But I think it was excessive and not sustainable, and it's something that should have been provided for far less than it subsequently was provided. But it was sought for by members of the House as well. I'm not naming any names. I'm just, because I think, just making the point. And in terms of the security hut.
What's that?
Could I?
Looked for decent bike parking from government and opposition.
Yeah, I think just to make the point that anyway, I said what I said in respect of that. In terms of the security hut, that came from a recommendation from a group. I think it was excessive, but very often when the Gardaí recommend certain security measures in government buildings, people fulfil what is ordained in respect of security on that thing. On the phone pouches, Deputy, I want to make this point. I've been a long-term advocate for public health in this Dáil, and I introduced the smoking ban against many vested interests. And I did it, and Deputy McGann mightn't have been a fan at the time, but I did it in the interest of the public well-being and the public health of our people. And we've done other public health measures like the ban on smoky fuels and so on that Mary Harney would have brought in, which had a huge impact on public health. Now, it has been described, and I met Dr. Fauci recently, and he has described, and I've described, the public health threat of the social media as the public health threat of our time in respect of our children. The impact of children is horrific. And you have been extremely disingenuous in your presentation of the arguments, in your dismissal of that public health dimension to what is a good initiative. Now, one of the initiatives I took in education, I was interrupted a bit, I think, last if I could just be given 30 seconds. I brought in a measure years ago in terms of students being allowed to view their exam papers in schools. And that cost money at the time because we had to fund it. What you didn't mention in the FOI material is how the schools said who were consulted that it was a transformative initiative in terms of the utilisation of phone pouches, in terms of preventing the use of smartphones during the school day. And I would say this to you, long after this election,
Tánaiste, your time is up. Your time is up, and more so than just on this clock. Well, your minister. Am I not speaking? Am I not speaking?
For anyone to shout, can we just take it nice and easy, please?
Your minister oversees the OPW that spent €336,000 on the bike shed, 1.4 million on a security hut, and you can't stand there and do a punches by it and wash your hands of it. Your ministers are all over this, the waste of public money, not just on us, but the National Children's Hospital as well. A runaway train, the Minister for Health oversees that project. He's a Fianna Fáil minister. Now, I asked you specific questions. You didn't tell the truth. You kept the information from the public. I asked you, why were we not told that there would be an additional €2 million cost on the phone pouches every single year? Why did you stand there a number of weeks ago and say that this was a one-off cost? Answer that question. Tell me why you'd never told us that there would have to be up to 100,000 of these phone pouches replaced and bought every single year. Tell me why you did not tell the public that Minister Foley was lobbied by an executive from Yonder, the company who makes these phone pouches, and please explain to me why Minister Foley, in a parliamentary answer on the record of this Dáil, when I asked did she have any meeting with an executive from any of the phone companies, she said no, yet it is clear from the executive in Yonder, which says, "Dear Norma, I hope you're well. We met at the NAPD conference last October, that was in 2022, where I gave you a Yonder pouch for you to see it yourself, and there was extensive lobbying after that." So why aren't you coming clean with the public? You try to dismiss this is a non-issue. This is a serious issue of waste of public money, of a vanity project by a Fianna Fáil minister who was extensively lobbied by an executive who was given a pouch and who misled this Dáil throughout the process.
Deputy, could you ever explain to me why your party introduced it in Northern Ireland, but they're not an executive?
We didn't.
Sorry, no, you
we didn't.
I mean, the hypocrisy of you. What hypocrisy through the chair? What hypocrisy? This initiative is already in place in Northern Ireland, and the executive of Northern Ireland financed it. And who's the finance minister? Sinn Féin holds the finance ministry. You are doing this for naked political
Answer
reasons.
the questions.
And what I want to say to, and by the way, Deputy, we all meet people.
More questions.
I don't like the way you're trying to insinuate certain sort of characteristics attributable to the ministry.
She was given a phone pouch 2 years ago and she put it on the record of the Dáil.
No, could I just make another
What are you hiding?
If I could make a point, I'm hiding nothing. I'm hiding nothing because I'm very clear. At my Ardèche
the record of the Dáil was misled.
During my Ardèche speech during the year, I described social media as the greatest.
She met Yonder 2 years ago.
Please allow me speak.
Answer the questions.
I allowed you to speak. I allowed you to speak.
Answer the questions why she misled the Dáil.
I just want to make a point, if I may. I've been interrupted repeatedly now by Deputy.
No. Look, please, on the last day of the sitting of this Dáil, do not make me suspend it because of this carry-on. Please, and that goes for the government side as well. Please, let's have it quiet. Let's have quiet.
That's fair enough. But Corley, can I ask?
No,
on a point of order. On a point of order.
No, there's no point.
Because the misleading of the Dáil is an important point. And if we have evidence that the Miss Dáil was misled, that she met with Yonder, that she was given a pouch 2 years ago.
Please.
At our Ardèche last year, I described social media, the use of smartphones and so on, as the public health threat of our generation. I've been consistent on this. I believe in taking the smartphone out of the school day. I believe in allowing children the opportunity to concentrate, to enjoy.
It's not the question.
And in the material that was released, teachers spoke about the use of these pouches.
The material shows that you misled the Dáil as well.
As freeing up the time for children to do what children normally and naturally did before the invasion of social media.
And why didn't you tell the truth? Why didn't you tell the truth?
I just want to finish by saying
2 million every year.
Long after this general election is over, I'll make this prediction. In years to come, people will look back on this initiative and say, It was a good initiative that did some good for the children of that generation. That's what will happen, by the way. This will be implemented.
Why didn't you tell the truth? You're not answering any of the questions.
It will be impactful long after the election.
Why didn't he tell us that it cost €2 million every single year afterwards, that 100 million of the phones have to be replaced, and that Minister Foley met the company and was given a pouch?
Goodbye, Mary Lou.
What are you hiding?
Goodbye, Mary Lou.
What are you hiding?
Goodbye, Mary Lou.
Please. We're not certainly doing anything for our standing in the public eye by this sort of carry on. Please, can we maintain some sort of decorum? I know you're all worked up and excited about undertaking the campaign, but save it for the doorsteps, and let us behave ourselves here, please. No, there's no point of order on leaders' questions.
Is that the point?
There's no point of order for anybody on leaders' questions. No point of order. Now, we're going next.